welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for deciding to click on today's video. We are going to be testing out a new brand in this video. It's called the Private Society Cosmetics. They recently sent me a PR package when I did my most recent PR haul, and a lot of you guys said you wanted to see me trying out some of the products. So today is going to be a full first impressions on the entire brand. I have here a ton of products to try out, so if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and get started. I did go ahead and do this makeup look with all of the products, which I will get into in a second, but I did kind of quickly just want to run through the products in case you guys are curious about this brand. So like I said, they did send me over this package. This video is not sponsored or anything like that. They didn't ask me to make a video. I did just choose to try these out because when I swatched them in the PR unboxing, they looked really promising. So we have the Girl Boss palette right here. I used the Glow Getter highlighting palette. They had a few lip products. There was a foundation, a concealer. Some of the products worked and some of the products didn't work. When I was looking at their site, I found it interesting because it's called Private Society, and I guess you can't enter the site unless if you have a code, which I feel like is weird. They did give me a code, which is Molly, if you guys want to enter the site. I just don't understand really the point of that. I don't know if it's like something that they just want to do to like make their site exclusive and make it seem like a private society. I don't really know. You can also request a code, like if you don't want to use the one I gave you or if you want to check them out, you can just request a code and then they send you one. I'm not really sure if that's just a way to get people like on your email list or what. I'm not really sure, but I still did want to try out the products, obviously. I think that part's a little bit strange. Let me know down below what you guys think about that. But I was quite excited to try out the products. The prices seem okay. I think the eyeshadow palette was $35. The highlighting palette was $42. Brow pencil was $18. Foundation was like $20. So kind of average prices, I would say. This is a cruelty-free brand, in case you're wondering. So I think I'm going to go ahead and start with the first impressions so you guys can see how we got this look, what I thought about the products, and how they performed. So I am first going to start with the Girl Boss palette. I want to start with the eyes first. This one looks super cute. I love the colors in here. And it also has a brush, so I'm going to be trying out the brush as well. I don't normally love brushes that come in palettes, but I do want to give it a try just to see how it does perform. It actually seems really soft. So I'm going to start with the P. Louise. This is the makeup base. I have mine in the shade 0.5. I've been trying this out lately. Now, I won't say that I have like a full opinion on it because I've only tried it a few times, but so far, I mean, it does seem to give my makeup like more of a vibrant look. So that part is nice. So I've been just applying it with like a fluffy brush all over my lid, and then I've just been kind of blending it out a little bit with my beauty blender. So when I do apply it, I put a pretty generous amount. I know it looks like a lot right now, but once I put on the beauty blender, like once I kind of blend it out a little bit, I would definitely say a little goes a long way with this eye base for sure. So now that we've got our base, I'm going to actually go into the shade CEO, which is this one right here. And I'm going to use the brush from the palette, and I'm going to blend this shade into my crease. So I'm first going to stamp it on and then start to blend. All of the shades show up so pigmented when you use this eyeshadow base. I really feel like it kind of just, I don't know, it makes any shadow like really vibrant. Like I really do think that it is working like what it says it's supposed to do. You can tell just how intense that shade alone is. It seems like it's blending out nicely, and the brush actually doesn't feel that bad for a brush that's inside of a palette. Normally I feel like the palette brushes feel really scratchy, but I don't feel like this one feels scratchy at all. Alright, so now for our second shade, I'm going to go into the shade Moneymaker, which is like a brown shade, and I'm going to, again, use the same brush, lightly tap this one again into our crease, just to deepen this up a little bit. That shade doesn't seem to be blending as easy as the first shade, but it is a little bit darker. I don't think it's blending badly. I'm just having to work a little bit more to kind of blend out the edges on this one, which kind of happens to me with a lot of dark shades, to be honest. So I am noticing though, the brush is shedding. Can you guys see all these hairs right here? The more I blend with it, like it is definitely shedding like brush hairs. I'm noticing quite a few of them falling off. So that doesn't normally happen to me with my brushes. So I don't know if they're just not like packed on here goodly, they're not really meant to like fully blend this hard. I don't really know, but they're definitely falling off. I'd say that actually looks really nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and go into another shade now. So I really wanna try the shade Jetsedder. This one is really, really pretty. And I'm actually gonna use the other side of the brush. They don't have names on it or anything, but this side's like more of like a pointed, I would consider it like a pencil or like a crease brush. And I am going to stamp this shade just into the crease and kind of carve out the crease a little bit with this shade. So I don't love this side of the brush, especially for this technique. I feel like it's just kind of scratchy. So I didn't feel like the other side was, but this side definitely kind of feels scratchy. All right, so I'm actually gonna carve out the crease. I'm gonna go back into the P. Louise. I'm just gonna take a tiny, tiny bit of this. I'm just kind of gonna carve out where I want the cut crease area. I'm using this small pointer brush from Motive. Really like using this brush because it's really small and I feel like you can get really precise with where you want to cut your crease. So once I've kind of carved that out, I am gonna go in with the shimmer shade, and I do wanna grab this like while that's still wet. So instead of going on doing the other cut crease, I'm just gonna set this one first with our shimmer. So I'm going into the shade right here, and I am applying it all over the lid. I didn't wet my brush, so I wanna first see how it applies without wetting it, and it actually looks pretty pigmented without wetting it. So now I'm just gonna apply some Fix Plus, and we'll try wetting it and see how much more foiled it looks. I feel like whenever you add Fix Plus to a product, it really just makes it like that much more metallic. So far, the shimmer shade is really pretty. I feel like it's really pigmented and nice. It's easy to pick up on the brush. I think it turned out really pretty. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other eye, and I'm gonna add some wing liner, I think, and then some lashes, and we'll be back to finish up the lower lash line. All right, so now that our eyes are pretty much done, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the base, and then we'll go back in and do the brows. So I'm gonna go in with this Wonder Glow. This is from Charlotte Tilbury. I've been using this a bunch lately to prime. I just feel like it's really pretty. It kind of just blurs your skin, and it also gives you really, really glowy skin. So I just apply it and then I blend it out with my beauty sponge. Okay, so now we're gonna apply the foundation. So this is the Drops of Perfection foundation. Mine just says medium, so this actually has like a dropper. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop, we'll probably do like 3 little drops here on my face. It looks like it will be a little bit dark for me, but we'll see when I blend it out. I could always try and run it down my neck. That is definitely really orange on me. So I would say the coverage on this is kind of like a light to medium coverage, because as you can see, all of my like veinage right here and my pimples and moles and everything are still showing through. And this is definitely not a good shade match for sure, but we'll have to continue and make do with it, try to make it work the best we can. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually this time, I'm gonna apply the drops on my hands this time and kind of blend them in that way. So just applying them on my hand, putting my beauty blender into the foundation and going that way. So I'm dragging it down my neck pretty much all the way. I am gonna have like a bit of a line here, but you know, we're gonna have to try to make it work. I can add a little bit of a lighter foundation to it if I need to, but I am gonna try out the concealer, although that's also in medium, so I have a feeling that's gonna be just as orange. So I'm gonna go ahead and try the concealer. This is called the Converted Concealer. And I don't love the applicator on this. It's just a really, really small applicator. It's not my favorite, but we're gonna try it out anyway. So I'm gonna apply this to the under eyes, and this is a thick concealer. Oh wow, okay, this is very thick. So I'm gonna apply some of it, and then I'm gonna actually blend it out because I have a feeling this is gonna dry down really quickly because it is very, very thick. Okay, so I'm gonna work quickly here and try my best to blend this out. I feel like it has good coverage, and it actually doesn't feel as thick as it looks. Like when I first applied it, it looked really thick, but like on my skin, it doesn't feel as thick as it looks. But I definitely don't think that this is a shade that is gonna help us lighten our foundation at all. So I'm gonna have to apply something else to kind of lighten this foundation because it is way too dark. Maybe if I do highlight with this shade, it might help. So actually, I'm going to apply this to my under eye again. And maybe it's just this applicator, but I feel like it's like really tugging like on my skin. I don't know. It just feels so dry. Does look really pretty. Okay, so let's go ahead and apply this. I'm gonna put some on my forehead here and see if we can't help this foundation situation. I'm gonna put some here on my nose. Now, obviously I would normally use a lighter shade to kind of do this with, but we're gonna make do with what we have. So I'm just gonna apply this kind of all over my face to just kind of help lighten up this foundation if we can. I actually feel like when I look at my skin though, it looks really nice, especially adding on this concealer. Like it just made it look really dewy. So I think if I had this in a shade lighter, like maybe they have a light shade, I'll have to look on their website and see like what the shade range of this is. I think the concealer is really pretty though. The finish of it is really nice. It's very luminous, and I feel like it kind of did save this foundation and made it look a bit better. Obviously it's still way too dark for me, but I feel like it lightened it up quite a bit. Overall though, the look of my skin right now looks really hydrated, and I think it looks really nice. So like I said, if I had this in a lighter shade, I think it would be really, really nice. So I am still gonna set my under eyes with a little bit of powder. It actually seems like it's not really creasing too much actually for how long it's been sitting here, but I am still gonna set it, just kind of bake it a little bit with a little bit of the Laura Mercier translucent powder. Nothing too crazy, so I'm really mostly just setting it right here under my eye just to kind of bake it out a little bit. So while we're letting that bake, we're gonna try the brow pencil. This is the On Point Brow Definer, and this is the shade Medium Brown. So it just has like a tip like that. Reminds me of the Anastasia like brow definer. So we are going to start here on the tail of my brow, and we are just gonna kind of work the product in. I always like to give myself a shape first, so I'll kind of underline my brow right there. And then I'll kind of start up here on my arch and put the arch where I want it to be. I always arch it a little bit more than my hair, nothing too crazy. And then come down here. I probably would like it to be just like a tint lighter. So I'm just gonna make sure I go in with like a light hand here. The actual formula of the pencil feels nice though. It feels a little bit waxy, but nothing too crazy. So now for the front, I'm gonna go ahead and roll it up a little bit more just so we can make sure we get the point of the pencil. And I'm gonna kind of flick it up here in the front just to get some hair-like strokes. All right, that looks like a pretty nice brow. Like I said, it's a little bit darker than I normally go with. I prefer mine to be just a little bit lighter. I like my brows a little bit lighter. But it's nothing too bad. I feel like it performed really nicely, and it gave me a really nice shape, and it was really easy and quick to do. So my face is still feeling a little bit tacky, probably from all that concealer. So I'm just gonna really quickly set it a little bit with some Wet n Wild pressed powder before I go in with my bronzer, just to make sure it kind of glides on there nicely. And then for my bronzer, I'm just gonna go in with the Benefit Hoola, since there isn't a bronzer that they sent over. And I'm really quickly just gonna kind of give a quick dusting to my face. So I'm just gonna carve out with some Laura Mercier, and then we'll be ready to go into the highlighting palette. So now we're gonna move on to the Glow Getter palette, and I am so excited to give this one a try. So I think the shade that's attracting me the most is this one right here, which is called Trophy Wife. So I'm gonna pick that up on my Morphe brush and apply that to my cheekbones. So I think the shade looks nice. I'm just gonna build it up a little bit more. There we go. This is a really pretty color, and it doesn't look like it's too glittery at all, which I've been having a couple issues with highlighters lately, looking like a little bit too glittery, but this one actually looks really nice on the skin. I'm gonna put a little bit of the Champagne Showers on my nose, and then also my Cupid's Bow. That shade looks really pretty as well. I like these highlights so far, really, really nice. So I'm gonna go back into the Girl Boss palette and just add a little bit more of that shade to our lower lash line, since we lost a little bit of it when we did our concealer. Okay, and I still wanna do an inner corner highlight, so I'm actually gonna go into the shade First Class, which is just a matte white shade, and I'm gonna apply this just to the inner corner just to brighten it up a little bit. It's not gonna do anything crazy because it is a matte shade, but it's just gonna give us a little extra brightness right there. I'm also gonna put a little bit of this in my brow bone, although I feel like when you use the P. Louise, it definitely gives you like that white brow bone look. All right, so we're finally ready for lips. So they sent over a few different lip products. So the first one is a lip pencil. This is the Lip Service, and this one is in the shade Frenchy. So this is just like a retractable lip pencil. So I'm gonna go ahead and line my lips with this one. So that was really pigmented and nice and easy to work in. I like the shade too. And then they gave me a liquid lipstick and then also a gloss. So I'm first gonna go in with the liquid lipstick. This one is in the shade Revenge, and apply this one to the lips. I really like the applicator on here. So this is more of like a mauve shade. I don't know that it necessarily goes with this lip liner, but you know, I'll make it work. So that one felt really smooth on the lips when I was applying it. I really like the shade. I think it's really pretty. I'm going to let that dry down for a second. And then they also gave me this gloss. And this one is in the shade Teddy. So I think I'm going to apply this one over top of that. But I'm just going to let this kind of dry down a second before I apply the gloss. Alright, so now that that's dried down, it's not dried down all the way, but it's pretty dry. So I'm going to go ahead and apply some of the lip gloss over top. I really like this shade. It's really pretty. But after we added the lip, that is going to do it for this look. I really like the way it actually came out. Aside from the fact that our foundation is so orange, I think that this look turned out really pretty. I really enjoyed the eyeshadow palette. I really, really liked the shades in there. I felt like they were really nice to blend out. I didn't like the brush though. Those brush hairs were all over my face, and so I don't normally have that happen. So I didn't like that. Obviously, the foundation was a miss because of the shade, but I actually do like the coverage of it. I think it looks nice, and I loved the concealer. I feel like it looks really, really nice on my under eyes. It looked hydrating, like it kind of gave a bit of glow to my face. I really enjoyed that. The highlight, I think, is really pretty. It looks really natural. It kind of just melted into my skin, so the highlighting palette was nice as well. The brow pencil I did like too, and also the lip products I feel like are pretty nice so far. Obviously, I'm going to continue to try out these products, and of course we'll come back and let you guys know my thoughts, but so far I'm pretty impressed with almost everything I've tried. I will have the brand linked down below if you guys want to check out any of these products. I'll also list them all down below so you guys can see what I used. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you did enjoy it. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Also, don't forget to subscribe before you go, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, friends.